Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, October 11th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. Monday, town meeting members and officials gathered in the NHS auditorium for night one of special town meeting. 15 articles were on the warrant, and the group settled 5 of them Monday night. For more on the articles, we send it over to Town Manager Tony Mazzucco to recap the night.
So Norwood finished night one of our fall special town meeting, and we got through quite a few important articles, a little under half the warrant. One of the first articles that was up that we got through was approving a TIF, or tax increment financing district for Moderna. So that'll lead to a $50 million investment in a building up in where Polaroid used to be, as well as bringing 250 jobs from Cambridge to Norwood, high-paying R&D jobs, as well as adding another 100 jobs over the next 5 years. We acquired a small acre-and-a-half piece of land that'll be used permanently for open space and recreation. We also acquired about 7 acres of land at the end of what's known as the St. Streets in South Norwood that will permanently preserve some land along the river for walking paths and trails and open space preservation. So far halfway through, or about halfway through special town meeting, we've acquired a little over 8 acres of land that we will permanently be preserving for open space. We also approved a couple of zoning changes. One was a small technical amendment to the downtown mixed-use overlay district that just adds 2 parcels that were not included in the original zoning overlay district that we did last year at town meeting, at our annual town meeting. And there was actually an article to approve conversion of historic buildings to allow a older home to be converted into 2 or 3 or 4 multifamily units or rental units or condo units in the effort to preserve the historic nature of the building. There was a lot of debate on that one. It went on for a little over an hour, but it ended up passing about 70 to 11.
Special town meeting opened briefly Thursday night. However, the town meeting body failed to reach a quorum, and town meeting adjourned until Thursday, October 17th at 7:30 p.m. NCM will be live with the coverage. Stay tuned after this break to get a recap of a very busy weekend of town events.
Living Local is a new program coming to Norwood Community Media that highlights businesses and events here in Norwood. Everything you need to know about eating local, shopping local, exercising local, or even creating local, you'll find it right here on NCM's newest program, Living Local. You'll get an inside look into what makes each business unique. Only on Norwood Community Media, your home for all things Norwood.
Welcome back. This past weekend was a busy one all across town. Saturday morning, Norwood High School hosted their annual fundraiser, Putting for Patients, which raises money for Dana-Farber and the Jimmy Fund. Students and residents enjoyed an 18-hole mini golf course that was set up in the NHS gym, along with many other activities such as face painting.
So we're at Putting for Patients right now, where there's an 18-hole golf course inside, and then we have raffles and we have concessions, and all the proceeds go to the Jimmy Fund. And
the winners of the team competition there's teams of 4, the winners get this, and then there's also an individual competition and the winners also get this.
Yeah, so it's for all ages, anyone can come, and it's just something at the Norwood gym just to get fundraising for the Jimmy Fund and just a fun time.
At the same time as Putting for Patients fundraiser, the police and fire departments hosted their annual open house. Many children and adults enjoyed their time touring the fire trucks and police cars.
We just completed our open house here at the fire station. Very successful. We probably had anywhere from 400 to 500 people that showed. So we had some demonstrations earlier. We showed firefighters putting on their gear, explained the importance of our gear, that it keeps us safe. We also had an aerial ladder demonstration, and to end the day we had a Jaws of Life demonstration where we cut up a junk car, we cut the doors off, cut the roof off, and spreaded the dash away from the front seat. All in all, it was a very good day. We had a good turnout. I wanted to thank Papagino's for donating pizzas today. Also wanted to thank Dunkin' Donuts. They also, year in, year out, they always come through for our open house with Dunkin' Donuts munchkins and also coffee for the adults.
Then on Sunday, the Norwood Scholarship Foundation hosted a Patriots Watch Party fundraiser at the Old Colonial Cafe. Money raised during this and other events will be given out to deserving seniors at the end of the school year. For more on the event, we go to Lori Shea.
As you may all be aware, the Norwood Scholarship Foundation gives away about $50,000 worth of scholarships each year to Norwood residents going on to secondary education. Today's event, the scholarship committee decided to just host a tailgate party. Basically just grabbing the Norwood community, bringing them together to watch the Patriots game. We have about 23, 24 different raffle items to help raise some money for the cause. We also have in the back this evening, or this afternoon, we have a sports memorabilia live silent auction. A local company bringing in all different types of sports memorabilia for silent auction. All dollars raised will go directly to the Norwood Scholarship Foundation. Today's event is really just about people enjoying the company of others and watching the Patriots. It doesn't really get much better than that.
The last major town event of the weekend was the first concert at the newly renovated St. Gabriel's Chapel. The Concerts in the Chapel series was organized by the Friends of St. Gabriel's Chapel Group with the help of the Old Parish Preservation Volunteers and Town of Norwood Cemetery Department. Sunday's concert featured harpist Lizery Rodriguez with 2 special guest performances by Ella Brown and Cecily Zhao. The next concert in the chapel will be on November 10th at 3:30 p.m. and will feature guitarist Steve Marchina. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your local government.
Norwood. Here, we are chosen at birth. Our loyalties are predetermined. And our families, defined. Raised by the stories of those that came before us.
Here's a breakaway. Hold on, he's in back and score!
Fearlessly driven by the hope of what's to come. It chooses us. It defines us. And for us, it's everything. This is Norwood. And here, sports are in our blood.
Norwood Mustangs 2015 are the state Division I champs.
Welcome back to Norwood News. Several members of the Middle School Building Committee took an in-depth tour of the Coakley Middle School earlier this week. School administration officials pointed out several flaws in the building's layout and aging condition. Originally constructed in the early 70s, CMS is approaching 50 and growing tired. While the building has served Norwood students well in that time, the building's age and wear is showing. Some of the issues that came up on the tour were teaching space, safety, and functionality.
50 weeks a year. It's the last 2 weeks of August that there's virtually no one in this building. But we have summer camps, summer programs, summer school. So this building has never gotten any downtime.
As well as the current library office is being cut in half to be a school adjustment counselor's office as well. And trying to fit teaching space and storage space for both, Stephanie, a Spanish teacher, and myself, the librarian, can get creative. Or a need to be creative because it's tricky.
Our science rooms don't work with our team-based model because they are all in the same spot, both upstairs and downstairs. Our downstairs science rooms, which we'll show you, are not full lab equipped room. They are basically 6th grade classrooms that have been adapted to the point that they can. Our ones upstairs are full science labs, but they're all in one spot. So it really sort of impacts our ability to do a team model where we can really separate out 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, the different teams. And I can tell you that teachers work better when they are right next to each other because it lends them to be able to collaborate, work together, and work together, just be a team all together. So
the Trails Advisory Committee met Tuesday night. Norwood resident Judith Howard presented the Norwood pumping station to the committee, specifically the possibility of developing trails that would lead to Boston Skating Club. After Howard's presentation, the committee discussed an upcoming trail walk at Endine Park as well as a pumpkin contest. The Trails Advisory Committee will meet again in the coming weeks. The Cable Commission held their first meeting since June on Tuesday night. NCM Executive Director Jack Tolman briefed the Commission on NCM's latest activity, as well as the current FCC ruling and funding. Representatives from both Comcast and Verizon also updated the Commission on their activities and gave their input on the FCC ruling.
The FCC is voting to change the cable franchising fee calculation rules, which is that's across the country on public access, which affects the funding. What they're trying to do is to really to change the way they use the 5%. That's the max for certain communities, and Norwood is a 5% community, and charge the in-kind benefits that we receive, such as the connections in the iNet and the local origination drops. And we were expecting a ruling on the 26th of September, but that hasn't happened yet. But I just found out this afternoon that a stay was filed, was motioned to, so everything's on hold. And that's all brand new to us. So we're keeping a good eye on that. There's a lot of meetings within the different communities because it could affect, the funding that we receive.
Other than I've read
Yeah.
first of all, I'm not an attorney.
Okay.
I've read the ruling and order. Verizon is assessing the ruling and order, and Verizon will comply with whatever the ruling and order comes down. You mentioned earlier, Jack, the stay. I was unaware of the stay, so tomorrow I'll look into that a little bit. But again, whatever the FCC determines, Verizon will comply.
I think it's told right now, right? Yeah. But we meaning my division, legislative affairs, we had a meeting recently, last week actually, to talk about it. Our view has been that general counsel, corporate is still kind of vetting it out. So we, meaning the local guys, don't have any really thing to offer. I'm getting calls every day from different cable access, which rightfully so. Right. But really, it's kind of status quo right now.
Okay.
The next scheduled Cable Commission meeting will be November 19th. Wednesday night, the Airport Commission met and began their meeting with a project update from Jeff Adler of Du Bois & King. Adler provided 2 updates for the Commission, the first being a technical master plan and the second being the taxiway relocation project. Following the project updates, Russ McGuire, Airport Manager, provided his report to the board. The meeting ended with an executive session to discuss the ongoing litigation between the town of Norwood and Boston Executive Helicopter. The Airport Commission will meet again later this month. Later that night, the school committee was on the road to the Coakley Middle School Library. Multiple appointments were on the agenda, including Dr. Frasick and Dr. Galligan, along with Cindy Durain, to present their school improvement plans. A highlight of the evening was a presentation from some middle school students to hear their perspective on the newly added elective program in place of the previous Mustang block.
When I first heard this idea, I kind of thought, I was a bit upset because I tended to do my homework during Mustang block. And unlike most people in my classes, I enjoyed reading. But then the first time I went to my video production class, I was very happy, and I was expecting less when I first walked in, and my expectations were blown away.
Stephanie West also gave a brief presentation on the new ELA committee pilot, and Dr. Wyeth gave a report on ELL staffing. The next school committee meeting will be October 23rd. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your schools.
Do you want to stay up to date with Norwood Community Media? Then subscribe to our weekly NCM newsletter. Every Friday, our promotions department publishes an online newsletter that highlights the work of NCM and the latest happenings. It includes the full episode of Norwood News, recent clips from NCM programs, behind-the-scenes photos, and so much more. NCM works hard to deliver a steady stream of Norwood content, and this newsletter is another way to stay connected to Norwood. To receive the newsletter, just visit www.norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Scroll to the bottom of the page, click the Sign Up for Our Newsletter button, and enter some basic information. You'll then be added to our newsletter mailing list. It's all here on Norwood Community Media, your home for all things Norwood.
Welcome back. Now we're going to toss it over to our Norwood Schools reporter to recap everything that has happened this week in the Norwood Public School District.
Hi guys, I'm Allie McDonough, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. At the Oldham, the third graders transformed pumpkins into globes. After learning about the 7 continents and 5 oceans, the kids drew the continents on their pumpkins after marking the equator and the prime meridian. Then, they painted the continents green and the ocean blue. They did an amazing job. I'm curious how many of you know the 7 continents and 5 oceans. We'll give you the answer at the end of the school news. It's a great time to be part of the Prescott community. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders have been participating in the English language arts pilot programs and have all kicked off the year discussing traditions. We've explored different cultures, their traditions, and read through folk tales and other traditional texts and how certain ideas and customs have come about. This effort has been supported by our fantastic reading specialist, Mrs. Thornton, and new district ELA coordinator, Mrs. Stephanie West. Here's Mrs. Thornton helping a student during the National Geographic pilot in 4th grade. At the Callahan School, as part of the ELA curriculum, students in Mrs. Miranda's class worked in small groups using argumentative text. The students read several chapters about national parks and then discussed how the author persuades the reader to preserve the parks. In a follow-up lesson, they located details from the text to support the author's position. Makerspace challenges are a highlight at the Callahan Library. With the support of Mr. Rulin, students create a variety of structures using Legos and various household materials. These lessons reinforce science concepts and encourage students to work creatively and cooperatively. In PE class, students develop gross motor skills while working with partners or in small groups to tackle various challenges. At the Cleveland School, students enjoyed trying out the new sensory path. Going through the interactive course requires hopping, jumping, crawling, pushing, and balancing skills. The sensory path allows students to get their needed brain and movement breaks and helps improve regulation. As part of Chartwell's Seed-to-Table celebration, the food service team visited Mrs. Elbatch's 1st grade classroom at the Prescott. First, the class searched the garden for a few ripe tomatoes. The Prescott has had a great harvest of tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and more. Chef Eli then showed the class how you can make a healthy and tasty side dish with just a few ingredients. Once the students were finished enjoying the fresh salad, it was time for some work. To reduce the amount of waste thrown away, the Prescott had begun composting. The vegetable scraps and peels from the demo were added and the students helped roll the composter. The Little Mustangs Preschool has been collaborating with the LEAD program students in recent weeks. The LEAD program is Norwood Public Schools' program for our older students who are transitioning into independent life within the community. Miss Sharon and Miss Penelope have been helping students and teachers with art projects, literacy activities, and cooking projects. LMPA is excited to have these awesome young ladies helping their little Mustangs and look forward to more opportunities to collaborate with the LEAD program this year. The Coakley Middle School PTO is having a Box Tops fundraiser. They can be dropped off at the main office, or students can bring them to their homeroom teacher. You can also scan your Box Tops when you sign up for the Box Top app. Be sure to choose Coakley Middle School when you sign up. Deadline is October 25th. At Norwood High School, the Student of the Month Committee solicits nominations for the 4A's Student of the Month Awards. Selected seniors are involved in the 4A's: academics, arts, athletics, and activities, and are positive role models for other students. The September Students of the Month are Stephen Allinger and Alrina Shara. Earlier, we asked you if you know the 7 continents and the 5 oceans. Well, here's the answer, and I hope you scored a 100. Well, that's it for school news. For more information about the Norwood school system, please check the website, Facebook, and watch NCM. Now, let's go to Brian Dunn with the latest sports news.
Hey everybody, and welcome into the sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn, and we got our first ticket punch into the MIAA tournament. We'll tell you exactly who that is and more on the scoring rundown for this week. But first, let's take you back to a memorable Saturday night at Denham High School, where the first annual Morales Cup took place between the Mustangs and the Marauders. A hard-fought battle resulted in the Marauders taking a narrow 2-1 victory over Norwood. The Morales family presented the trophy to the winning team after the game, and NCM's Mark Hoover caught up with them at halftime to hear more about their story behind the special night.
And they wanted to help us and raising funds, and that help we will forever be grateful because it was invaluable. After Fernando passed away, we wanted to give back, and pediatric cancer is very underfunded. So we decided to continue to do the Jimmy Fund Walk, which we started a couple of years before while Fernando was still alive. We decided to keep doing it and give the money to the Jimmy Fund for pediatric cancer research. So for 7 years now, we've been doing it. It's in September, but we still collect money all the way until October. So today, kind of use it so as a way to raise money for cancer research.
And again, big thank you to the Morales family for sharing a few words on your story. Shifting gears into the rest of the scores, Norwood football hit the road and gave the Hopkinton Hillers a competitive game, but ultimately fall 12-7. Tough Monday for the Mustangs as both boys and girls soccer lose to Dover Sherborne and volleyball loses to Holliston 3-1. Field hockey, with an opportunity to clinch the tournament berth, took on Bellingham and made sure they closed the door early. A 6-1 victory over the Blackhawks punched their ticket into the MIAA tournament. The reigning Tri-Valley League champions look to make some noise in the tournament yet again. Cross country loses to Westwood, and golf gets a narrow victory over Holliston, 243-242. And due to a nor'easter that hit towards the end of this week, many games were postponed due to weather. And that is the official recap for the scores this week. If you don't already, make sure to give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates on when we go live for sporting coverage. I'll throw it back over to Kristen for some more Norwood news.
Thanks, Brian. Are you looking for new handcrafted items to decorate your home or office? Next weekend, the very popular Norwood Craft Affair will be taking over the NHS gym. Over 80 vendors will be set up with various handmade designs and crafts for you to purchase. The event will be on Saturday the 19th between the hours of 9 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Be sure to swing by this always popular event. Also on Saturday the 19th, the Old Parish Cemetery volunteers are hosting a Women of Old Parish walking tour. This will be a guided tour through the cemetery to learn about its rich history. The tour will run between 2 and 3 p.m. And last, but certainly not least, next weekend will be the opening weekend of Fantasy Footsteps. Upper grade students across the school district will be dressing up in fairy tale costumes and will be giving tours through the decorated halls of the Savage Center to young children. If you are a parent of young kids, don't miss this great event. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great long weekend.